going on. And a lot of us are still in school. A lot of us are still on the grind. But your boy, I'm a biologist now. I graduated, and I thank God that it's finally over. I don't have to worry about homework anymore. That's great. But you might be asking, oh, it's awesome. You don't have to do homework. There's no stress anymore. Let me tell you what. Stress levels have never been higher, because when you're done with school, it's not like your life ends. You got to find a job now. Like, nobody told me that. What's up? Now I have to find a job, and actually, thank God, I have an interview set up for Thursday. And it'd be a perfect position to first start out my career in medical sales. It would be amazing if I got the job. But my stress, it's like eating me up. It's consuming me almost. That like I can't even contain how excited I am and how nervous I am. And I rarely even drop my confidence. I rarely get nervous. But thinking about the future and how pivotal all these points are, it's a little scary, isn't it? So today, I'd like to talk about, it's kind of a meme around UW. We all love memes, don't we? UW has two particular phrases that amongst the student body we just love to joke around with and say ironically. There is be boundless, and there's boundless memes, and there's all that. But there's also fail forward. Like, what? Fail forward? How does that make sense? Generally, when we want to get somewhere, we just think of a path, and we want to go on that path, and we don't want anything to bother us. Like, say I'm over on this side of the room, and I just want to get on that side of the stage. Easy, right? Just walk over. But we know life is never that easy. We know that on that path, there's going to be obstacles. You might have to turn. You might have to change directions. You might even have to completely give up on the path because you actually can't make it across the stage. You broke your leg. You can't walk. Don't break your leg. But so many things can happen that our minds can be changed and fear can consume us. Now, obviously that's why we have God. Obviously we put our faith and our trust into God, and that's actually what I'd like to start off with today from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. It's going to be a small reading that will start my message with. Verse 9, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Here we're learning and we're reading that no matter what's thrown at you, you have strength within God. And that is a strength that can never be taken away. Never. No matter what. Somebody calls you dumb. They're dumb. No, they're not dumb. No insult can hurt you. No insult can really get to you as long as you're on the side of God. No weakness of your physical being, no weakness of your emotional being can really consume you as long as you've got faith in God. Now let's bring it back to school, because, as I said, a lot of us are in school, and I think that's where a lot of us end up failing a little bit, whether it's a class or a whole career choice. I don't know. Like, for myself personally, I always envisioned I'm just going to go to school, I'm just going to go to medical school, and I'm just going to be a doctor. It's just going to happen like that. It's a straight path. But you start, and it doesn't work out that way. Almost everyone that I spoke to that wanted to be something high, like a doctor or some like chemical engineer, so many people just fade off. And they're like, I'll do it later because right now I'm tired. I'm tired right now. And that's my thing right now. I didn't want to go to medical school because I was just simply tired of school. You know how long it takes me to get from my house to Seattle? I can't just drive there. 3 hours total every day just sitting. And classes don't just happen one by one. You have to wait between classes. Nobody told me that. I wouldn't have gone. But I went and I suffered through it. There we go. And I suffered through it. And it's that suffering that made me realize what I really wanted to do. And it's that time that I spent there that really God used all my experiences and kind of brought out my strengths. A lot of you know that I was involved with the esports community of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Nintendo GameCube. And I spent a lot of time in that community, not playing the game, but commentating. When matches would happen on a live stream, I'd be behind the microphone and I would talk about the match. And I got to meet so many different people. And obviously, they're not chemists, they're not engineers, they're just regular people that just want to have fun. And I got to meet so many people and speak, just simply speaking every week at multiple places and getting recognition for it. And people, oh, you're the commentator, right? Slowly I realized what I had wanted to do. God took those experiences and said, this is what you need to focus on. And I noticed it more in my preaching. I noticed it more in my communication, that I was able to just speak. I'm not nervous about speaking because I know that's what God has in store for me. But now, on the topic of failing, life is hard. Life will get you down. Life is going to throw things at you for you to not succeed. Like I said, I always feel, or most of us just think that the path is just straight and you can just go on it. Like today, I started cutting. I've been bulking for 6 months and I started cutting today. No carbs. No carbs. Like, I know we're having pancakes, but I can't have pancakes. I would love to have some, but I can't. And I'm hungry. Chicken pancakes. And I just think in my head, okay, just like 3 months, no carbs, just go. 3 months. Well, 2 months to the wedding, sure, but I'm going to go more. Come on. And I just think it's just going to happen. I'm just going to do it. But there's obviously going to be complications because as all of us have dieted before, if you haven't been on a diet before, you're lying to yourself. You were trying to impress that one girl or that one guy. You end up failing. You're like, that cupcake looks too good. That cookie looks too good. Those pancakes after youth, too good. But through our weaknesses, God gives us strength. And we can use that strength to move forward in life and persist. Now, that moves me into the next part of, or the next passage I'd like to read from. This is in 2 Kings chapter 4, starting from verse 1. And I had heard this, I actually heard this verse in particular 2 times, I think in the past month. The first time I don't remember where, but the second time was actually just this last Sunday. And it was weird because I had chosen this verse earlier on from that first service that I had heard it. I was like, yeah, I want to speak on this. This is something I want to go into and talk about. And then hearing it again on Sunday just kind of, it's like, you know when you have a sign and it just kind of clicks in your head and like, yeah, I'll do it. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1. The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves. Elisha replied to her, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? Your servant has nothing there at all, she said, except a small jar of olive oil. So I'll stop right there for now. Let's set the scene. This woman, she's lost her husband, the provider for the family. They haven't heard of 2018. Come on, we don't do that anymore. Kidding. Or am I? Anyway, she can't provide for herself. She can't provide for the family. And so she's asking for help, but saying that her husband revered the Lord, that they serve the Lord, and she needs help. Now, how many of us have come to the point where no matter how much or how highly you thought of yourself, you had to say, I need help, right? We all come to that point. We're at our weakest. I need help. Like, I don't do office hours, but I need help. That's time I could be spending not at school, but I need help. And it's an extreme position where you can really, or it's just a position where you are at your weakest, aren't you? You are at your weakest when you have to say, I need help. I can't do it on my own. Please, professor, raise my grade. I need help. Please, I can't do this. I can't do that. I need help. So let's continue at verse 3. Elisha said, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few, then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all of the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side." She left him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another one." But he replied, "There is not a jar left." Then the oil stopped flowing. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." Now, is that not amazing that she had one jar of oil? And she just kept pouring and pouring. She said to her son, "Another one, another one, another one." Talking about the jars, another one. Kept pouring. And I like to envision it. I don't know exactly how many jars she poured, but I like to envision that she filled literally a whole room with jars. And that they're just like, "This is insane. How is this happening? This is obviously like a milk carton, but these jars they're huge. It should fit into a quarter of one, but it just keeps flowing." And that is the kindness of God, and that is the power of God. And we see the same sort of thing where Jesus fed the masses with just a few loaves of bread and fish, where he just kept giving and giving and giving until all were filled and there was extra. And Elisha said, "Go sell the oil, pay your debts, and live off what was left." When we come to the points in our life where we are at our weakest and we need that sort of help, we need to fail forward because we can't do it on our own. We don't know what's next for us. We don't know our next step concretely. God is saying that in your weakness and in your times of need, trust on me, lean on me, and I will provide. And how many times have we also said, or we denied ourselves the help? How many times have we said, "No, I can do it. No, I can do it. No, I can do it." Like, "Yo, homie, you obviously can't. Everyone can see it." "No, I can." And how many times has that stubbornness brought you to an even lower position where then you have to absolutely beg for forgiveness? Because we go through that sort of circumstance time after time. It's funny because you think, well, we learn, right? Well, for some reason we don't. For some reason, even though it keeps happening, we just don't learn from it. But that's what makes us human. That's what makes us servants of God, is that he gave us free will to not only serve him, but to also do foolish things. You might not have needed that one class on mushroom studies. You might not have needed that class, but you took it. It didn't really hurt you, but it's like, well, that was kind of a waste. But through our times of struggle and realizing our mistakes is where God can really grow us as Christians. When we come to this place to worship and we come to serve God, that is where we are always at our most delicate, where we say, "I need you, God. I need you, God. I need your help. Because I know on my own I can't do it." On your own, you cannot reach salvation. On your own, you can't even atone for all of your sins. And that's what Jesus was there for. That's why Jesus came down. That's why Jesus bled for you, so that you don't have to bleed. I don't like bleeding, I'll be honest. It gets on your clothes and it's all like it dries up. I don't like bleeding. But someone else already bled for you. The son of David, a whole lineage that came down to one man who then was laid on the cross. So that we don't have to face that same sort of fate. We don't have to face death. We face life further on. So in conclusion, in our lives we experience failure. But God says, through your failures, I'll strengthen you. I'll give you more than what you need, more so that you can live off of the strength that I give you. And through his power, we can influence others and give that same sort of hope to those around us.